Now then guys, welcome back to Range 23. My name's Bob, and in today's video I've got something a little bit unusual for you. We're going to be taking a look at a kind of semi-custom Lantac rifle. Not normally the type of thing I do. I prefer to look at stock firearms straight as they come from the manufacturer. But I've had this one in for a little while now, and I've been absolutely loving this setup, so I just thought I'd share it with you. So let's get straight into it. So if you follow the Range 23 Instagram, you may well have seen this gun before. It belongs to Matt, one of the guys I go shooting with, Mil-Spec Matty on Instagram. But don't be fooled by that name, there's not a single part of him that's in spec. But yeah, definitely check out Matt's page if you like artsy gun photos and top quality shooting memes. He's all about that life. But Matt is a real life army man, off doing real life army man things. So whilst he's been away in true kind of traditional military fashion, I've been having an affair with his piece back home. So yeah, let's check it out. So this is a Lantac LA-SF15. That is Lantac's base rifle, if you will. But for a base rifle, the spec is pretty decent. Out the gate, you're getting Lantac's own forged receiver set, as well as their own in-house produced handguard. Couldn't think of the word then, the Spada ML. That's quite nice. And we also have Magpul furniture on the base rifle. Obviously, this one's had a few bits done to it. So we'll take a look at some of those parts in a little bit more detail, and then I want to touch on the actual setup of this rifle as well. So firstly, let's start with those receivers. Like I say, they are forged receivers, forged out of 1775 T6 aluminium. For any Americans watching, that is aluminium. Like I say, machined in-house by Lantac as well. The fitment's really good. We don't have any real wobble on there as such. There's a bit of movement, but you kind of have to feel for it. You know what I mean? You have to. It's not apparent when you're just holding the gun or shooting the gun. So very nice there. And like a lot of others, I know my arrow set rattles around like loose change in your hand. So yeah, that's nice. The engraving on it is really clean again. It's kind of very professionally done. There's no big fat logos or anything like that. The font's nice. It's everything's just where it needs to be. Do you know what I mean? It's not excessive. I quite like that. And some nice little touches on it as well, like the there's a little recess machined around the rear takedown pin there, which just allows you about an extra mil of travel, which just means it's just easy to get it off if you're using gloves and things like that. Just nice little touches, really. So yeah, a good receiver set overall. Pretty pleased with that. It is T-marked on the top as well, as you'd expect. Right, let's move forward and take a look at this handguard. This is Lantac's own Spada ML lightweight handguard. This one is in M-lock, obviously, because a lot of you guys are too weak to handle quad rail apparently these days. But we do have M-lock at the 3, 6 and 9 o'clock positions. We've got 6 slots on this one, on this 12.5 like I say, and then we've got Picatinny rail along the full top length of it. The Picatinny rail is scalloped out for weight savings, and then we've got further weight savings made by these little lightning cuts along the length as well. And you can see as well just how kind of how much material has been removed from the rail itself, just to get that lightweight profile. I mean, those openings are absolutely huge. I mean, I've got absolutely massive fingers. Look, and I can get my fingers all the way in there. I mean, that's probably something for the for the Range 23 OnlyFans page. But yeah. So whilst it's a fairly lightweight handguard, it's actually incredibly rigid as well. It's got a great lockup as well. This is the same handguard Lantac use on all their full bore rifles over in the States and places like that. A lot of guys running IR and thermals and things like that on these. Never heard of any issues with them losing zero or anything coming loose. So yeah, it seems like a really well designed handguard, and I really like it. The profile's nice and sleek. My only minor gripe would be there's no QD mounting point built into it, but that's, like I said, very personal, very minor gripe. You can soon solve that with an M-lock attachment. But yeah, overall I think it's a really nice handguard. Moving on to the internals, this gun is obviously chambered in 22 long rifle, if you couldn't already tell, but they do full bore versions of this gun as well in straight pull and semi-autos over in the States and places like that. Like I said, this one's 22 and it is running the CMMG arc bolt and barrel in there, which I think is the right choice. It's a proven, reliable design. You guys know I'm a big fan of it. Got a lot of aftermarket support with it, a lot of magazine compatibility, things like that. So yeah, I definitely think that's the right choice for this gun. So moving on from the bolt to the barrel, these rifles are using a CMMG barrel. It is a 4140 steel government profile barrel with a 1 in 16 twist. Lantac chamber and like crown the ends as well in-house themselves. The chambering they've gone for on this is a 22 bends, which is not quite a match grade chamber, but it is tighter than a standard 22 chambering. So that should allow you to get kind of the best performance out of those higher quality kind of match ammos, whilst also retaining the reliability for the semi-automatic system. Up at the front end here as well, Lantac put an 11-degree target crown on there, and also cut the thread of half B28 for any muzzle devices and things you've got. This one's running a Lantac Dragon, you know, just to tame that recoil of those powerful 22s. But it's a really good quality muzzle brake, certainly on a full bore rifle, a proven design. It looks the part on this as well. So yeah, nice, good, high quality barrel. Machining work all seems to be really good. The crown looks really nice on this one, to be fair. And I've had no issues with it chambering anything or extracting anything either. The only thing the 22 benders doesn't really like, I think, is the Stinger rounds, the ones with a slightly longer case, those type of rounds. But as far as I'm aware, at least, most other things work in it. I've, like I say, not had any issue with it. This barrel has also been cut back from 16 to 14.5. I think that's a really good choice, actually. It suits this handguard length really well. And you know me, I like to shoot a lot of short guns. But this is quite nice, just gives you a little bit of extra real estate on the rail, and the 14.5, it gives you more than enough barrel length to get the performance out of those 22s. Anything else is kind of realistically wasted on a gun like this anyway. What also doesn't add all the weight and the length up front to spoil the balance of the gun. This is a really well balanced rifle. So yeah, I think that was a good choice as well. So nothing else too fancy with this build as it comes from Lantac, mil-spec buffer, mil-spec controls, all that good stuff. Nothing wrong with that, it's all good high quality gear. You do get a Magpul stock and Magpul grip though, which is a nice touch. But like I say, most of the stuff is a standard affair. Matt has obviously upgraded some bits on this gun in the build process. He's gone for a Raptor charging handle and a Radian Talon safety. Both range 23 approved, I love them. I know a lot of you guys shoot them too, industry leading stuff. You can, like I say, up-spec the rifle to pretty much whatever you want during the build process. But yeah, as a kind of base build, I think it's a really good quality build. Obviously Lantac do that little bit of custom work on the barrel, if that's your thing. But yeah, receiver-wise, it's nice. Handguard's really good. I like it. I think it's a really good, solidly built rifle using good, decent components. So now we've looked at that, let's go ahead and look at some of the bits that have been changed out on this gun and kind of how it affects the overall setup of it. So rifle setup's a very personal thing, especially when it comes to AR15s being as modular as they are. Everyone puts their own twist on it, whether it's their own preferred brand or make or whatever, or their particular reason they've got their gun for a competition or hunting or whatever. So yeah, it was interesting to me when I picked up this gun, because it was the first time I've picked up somebody else's AR15, and it just felt natural and right. It felt like I'd set this rifle up myself, to be honest. It just fit really well. I've shot in a few different circumstances, and it just seems to suit really, really well. So yeah, let's take a look at that. Actually, let's go through this setup, and I'll take you through the actual components that are on the gun, and then we'll look at kind of the ethos behind it, I guess. And in honour of Matt, we'll start down at the butt. Okay, guys, I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. We'll just quickly run through the kind of components on this gun. Starting at the back, we've got the Magpul MOE SL stock. It's kind of a very basic Magpul stock, but it's very nice, very slimline. It locks up nice and tight on that buffer, considering there's no secondary friction lock on there as well. Got a QD point both sides, ambidextrous, and a rubber butt pad on there. Moving forward into the receivers, we've got a Reptilia core grip. Nice that, it's got a decent grip angle on it, a bit more of a aggressive grip angle on there, which I quite like. It is a little bit smaller than some of the grips I like. I've got these great big dick beaters here, and a lot of the times I find a lot of like standard grips a bit uncomfortable, but this one's actually, it just molds around your hand really nicely. I do like that. Moving forward from there again, like I say, we've got our Radian Raptor charging handle and our Talon safety there. These are configurable between 90 and 45, all fully ambidextrous, really good industry leading stuff like that. Moving forward again to our trigger, we have the Rise Armament, I think this is an RA140, I want to say, kind of drop-in cassette style trigger. Nice little unit for a gun like this. It's got a brake of I'd say about 3 to 4 pounds, maybe 3.5 pounds, something like that. It's quite a crisp brake, single stage, tiny bit of over travel and a decent reset on it. It's got a slightly flatter blade than a mil-spec trigger as well. So yeah, more than capable for shooting groups, or if you kind of want to get that high cadence up there for shooting some drills or competitions and things, more than capable on this rifle. You'll also notice in there, in the trigger guard, another control. It's the dreaded mag pull bad lever. I know a lot of guys don't like that, and I can understand why. Having a control inside the trigger guard where your finger goes is maybe a bit dubious, but if you're using it correctly, it's more than safe. I've not had any issue with it. I think it's really good, and to be honest, I think it's probably the fastest ambidextrous bolt drop that I've actually used, because if you're using it correctly, where you come to a bolt lock reload like this, and we drop the magazine out, we go from our drop the magazine out, as soon as another one goes in, all we're doing is we sweep straight down into the trigger guard and we're back on that trigger. So it's one fluid motion, just catching it on the way down. I've found it really fast. Faster than like kind of coming off back here to find a catch and then back into the trigger guard, just kind of sweep it down in one motion. Obviously I've got, like I say, these great big hands to deal with. But yeah, I'm really liking that, to be honest. I think it's a really nice piece on the setup. Moving forward from there, we get to our HRF Concepts magazine well. Really like these little bits of kit. I've seen them on a few people's guns now. They're not overly, they're not, what's the word, overbearing. They're not as big as some of the competition magwells. Obviously the bigger the better for competition, I guess. So these are just a nice subtle addition, but they do add a lot more kind of real estate for getting that mag up in there. You can be a bit less precise with it, increase the speed of your reloads, unless you're an absolute moron like me and I just miss it altogether and try and put the mag into free air. So moving forward from the receivers to the handguard, you can see here we've got a little emissary development hand stop. Now I'm a big proponent of having like a grip or a hand stop or something on the underside of a rail. It's good for a lot of reasons. Like I was saying earlier, everyone's body proportions are different. For instance, my arms, neither of them go straight. That's about straight as my arms go. So I find it really difficult to do that super Gucci kind of outstretched C-clamp competition grip that you see a lot of guys doing. Really fatigues my arm. So, cry me a river, right? So I find it much more comfortable to pull the hand back a little bit and have a natural kind of cant to the wrist. With a hand stop or a forward grip or anything like that. Just kind of a modified position. And that is super comfortable. That's probably the most kind of comfortable little hand stop I've used, to be fair. Really like that. It's also kind of big enough and chunky enough that you can kind of use it as a little foot as well if you just want to get that little bit of elevation shooting off a barricade or a fence or something like that. And in front of that emissary hand stop, we've got some rail scales here, trying and ultimately failing to be as grippy as quad rail, but they do a decent job all the same. And moving on from there to our light, this is the mod light, PLVH2, whatever you call it. They're kind of flagship rifle light. Matt does a lot of low light shooting with me, so rifle lights are an absolute must for us. And this is up there with kind of the cloud defensive mod light. They're kind of both industry leaders right now. Really giving Surefire a run for the money. It's a nice bright light, it's got the range, it's got the spill, coupled with a little mod button here with a little ramp there from HRF Concepts again with a bit of cable management. Really nice, all sat on a lightweight Arisaka mount. And then, like I say, we've got our Lantac Dragon brake there, which is kind of useless on a 22. It's just there for looks and getting bashed around a bit. And as well as that Lantac Dragon brake, I've also been running this gun heavily suppressed. I've done probably a good 50% or so of the shooting with the suppressor. This one is running a house gun, I think it's pronounced, house gun, that one. Little moderator there, this is the MD45. Really nice little mod actually, great for rimfire use, it's monocore, so really easy to clean and everything like that. I believe they're also potentially proof for a centre fire. I'll have to double check that. But yeah, it's a nice mod, a little bit heavier than some of the other like rimfire specific mods out there, a little bit chunkier, but it does a great job all the same of suppressing that shot. It looks the part as well, looks really nice, really clean on there. And the last thing I want to touch on this setup is the actual optics setup itself. Matt's running an EOTech EXPS2 here. He actually won this in a giveaway, an Instagram giveaway, sorry, from Kim Hughes, Threat Reduction Limited. He does some great giveaways, guys. Definitely check out his page. He's got some great content there. Always giving away some really Gucci stuff. So yeah, Matt's got this EOTech mounted up on a Unity fast riser, which places it pretty high. So like 2.23 inches, I think, or 2.3 inches or something like that. So it is very high over the rail, even higher over the bore. A lot of people will be like, well, it's, you know, it's specific, sorry, for night vision use and things like that. And yeah, a lot of guys use this for night vision, and I'm sure it works really well. But to be fair, I don't think that's true. I've been gradually kind of raising my optics up over the last year or so. I started with kind of an absolute height, you know, with like my old EOTech, and then I've gone from that to like a 157 to a 193, and now I've had some time on this 2.23 or whatever it is, optic height, and I really like it. Yeah, for a regular shooter, I think this is probably the comfiest optic setup I've shot, the most natural feeling optic setup I've shot. I'm a pretty big guy anyway, but it just saves you having to crane your neck. You can just kind of almost come straight onto the gun. Even if you're throwing the stock in, you're not craning your neck down anywhere near as far, bringing the gun up to you from like a low ready position or coming in from a high ready, anything like that. You just seem to get on it a lot more natural. Really like it. As well, shooting weak shoulder and things like that, I found myself getting on target quicker weak shoulder as well. I don't know if it's because I'm not having to kind of duck my head in or whatever. It just takes some of that error out, takes some of that slop out. Or shooting off barricades or from apertures where you maybe have to cant the gun over. You don't even have to get your head on the gun. You can just kind of float your head and see the reticle there. You know, you don't have to get your head in close to the gun. It's sitting quite far outboard. Yeah, really good setup actually. Height over bore issue is not a massive issue. You know, you're only talking maybe inside of 10, maybe 7 yards, and with an EOTech anyway, you can just use the bottom of the donut and you're pretty much bang on. So that's realistically a non-issue, I think, in terms of height over bore with it. Anything past 10 yards and it doesn't really matter. Yeah, really pleased with it. Really good setup, that, guys. So there it is, guys, Matt's custom Lantac rifle. Probably, well, yeah, the best AR setup I've shot with, certainly for a 22. He's done a great job of setting this rifle up. We've got the good solid Lantac build at the heart of the rifle, reliable, accurate, dependable, all that good stuff. I sound like a marketing man from, don't I? I'm not at all. But yeah, definitely check them out though if you're in the market for a good high quality AR. Can't really go wrong, I don't think, with that. Obviously all the Gucci bits he's put on this as well, and everything's got its place on the rifle. Just makes a really good all-rounder. Not particularly great or excelling at any one thing, like competition. Obviously it'd be a bit heavy for a competition gun. Not perhaps the best hunting rig, not perhaps the best, you know, night shooting exclusive rig, but as an all-rounder, it's just a really good setup. I'm a bit annoyed actually, to be honest, because obviously I quite like to troll Matt, and I really wanted to get this gun and troll him and say to him, look, you don't know what you're doing. All them years in the army, what have they been for? You can't set a gun up for shit, you're useless. But quite the opposite is true. He's set up probably one of the best AR I think I've ever used. Which does beg the question, if this is such a great gun, such a good setup, why is Matt so bad with it? And I've thought on this a lot, and there's only one conclusion I can draw, conclusion I can draw, and that is that Matt is the weak link in the chain. So all those years of being in the army and, you know, all that good stuff has taught him how to set up a gun, but apparently not to shoot one very well. So you should definitely check out Matt's Instagram and make sure you leave him a comment to say that he needs to train with his rifle more, as we probably all do, to be fair. So there you go, guys, just a little something different for you today. I hope you've enjoyed that video talking about this custom Lantac. If you have done, go ahead and hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe to the channel as well, guys. We've still got our 1,000 subscriber giveaway going ahead, so make sure you check that video out, your chance to win some shooting accessories. If you've got any questions or comments about this rifle or anything else, just get down in the comment section below. I'd also love to hear about your kind of setups, some of your niche ones especially. I see some pictures of guys posting stuff where they've got like 3 optics or whatever, or, you know, 2 different handguards and 2 different hand stops, that type of thing. I'd be very interested to hear the ethos behind that. It's always good to learn about people's experiences and things like that. So if you've got a niche setup or an unusual one, by all means, get down in the comments and let me know about it. And yeah, that just about wraps this one up, guys. So thanks as always for watching. Stay tuned because we've got some great stuff coming up on the channel, and I'll see you all very soon.